Okay, I know that I'm live for our presentation on the high school plan. I'm going to wait just another minute. I see the time is 12:58, so I don't want to start before the prescribed time of 1 o'clock. You can see some nice artwork in the back of me. I have 8 grandkids. They have all contributed different artwork. It's been a busy summer. I have had a chance to see some of the grandkids, but not all of them because of social distancing and COVID that we're all in the middle of. Also, my nice relaxed attire. I wear my face mask on my arm. I have about 6 different types of face masks. So I'll be all decorated and set for September. So with that, it now says it's 1 o'clock. So what I'm going to do is I'd like to present the entire high school plan. And then what I'll do, it should take about 10 minutes. And then what I'll do from there is I'll turn to questions that the community has asked. So I'm going to go to present. So what you should have in front of you is entitled the In-Person Instruction Grades 9 through 12 Plan. Parents, as you know, you have a choice and students have a choice of going virtual, all online, or choosing a hybrid plan where students will come to school 1 day per week and then the rest is virtual. So there's going to actually be 2 different schedules running. By the way, we have about, we're reaching out to, on our survey, to get parents and students to respond as to which they want at this time. And we are missing about 20 or so high school selections, so we need those as quickly as we can. But let me go over the plan. So I'm going to start with 9th grade. So if you're a 9th grader and you have chosen in-person instruction, you will be coming to school on Mondays for in-person instruction in English, social studies, math, and science. The rest of the week will be remote: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And you'll actually follow the printed 9-period schedule. So if you have art period 3, you would attend art period 3 on Tuesday through Friday, for example. If you have English period 6, then you'd attend English period 6, Tuesday through Friday. Grade 10, same as grade 9, only you would be meeting on Tuesday. Tuesday in-person instruction, again, it's the core courses of English, social studies, math, and science, and then you would be remote on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Grade 11 is on Thursday. Wednesday is a deep clean day, and there will be no students in school on Wednesday. So Thursday is in person for grade 11, English, social studies, math, and science, with the rest of the students scheduled taught completely virtually. Grade 12 is Friday for English, social studies, math, and science, and remote would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday following the 9-period schedule. We have a number of students, grades 11 and 12, who are involved in VOTEC, BOCES, CTE, Career Technical Education. They are on an every other day schedule, and their time slot is the same as a printed schedule. So most of our students leave for BOCES at about 10 after 11 in the morning. That's exactly the schedule that they'll have, the time frame that they'll have for their VOTEC program. We'll be sending out specifics as to whether you're an A day student or a B day student, and they'll have the exact time that you would, I'm sorry about the phone. It's a master scheduling question. TechSmart, we have very few students involved in TechSmart. That's an 11th, 12th grade program, but those students will be meeting 2 days per week, not on Fridays, same time slot as a period 1 through 9 schedule. All classes, except for English, social studies, math, and science, are taught remotely, and it's so important that we follow the printed schedule. And I'll explain that a little bit more later. Classes that meet on an A-B schedule will meet virtually as follows. This is a set A day and B day. Monday is A day, Tuesday is always B day, Thursday is A day, Friday is always B day. And the reason for that, for example, I'll use PE or health that meets every other day. let's say that your health class 10th grade meets on a day, 10th graders come to school in person instruction on Tuesdays. So the health teacher has to understand that if they have an A day schedule, that the time that the health teacher would meet with those 10th graders would be Monday and Thursday. Can't meet on Tuesday because the students are here in school. As an aside, some students who are involved in Mrs. Cole's classroom, we will reach out to you individually. You will be taught face-to-face in room 501. Mrs. Mears' classroom will be taught face-to-face Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday in room 411, and we'll be reaching out individually to those students. To reemphasize, we have a deep clean on Wednesday, no students and no teachers in the building. All areas will be thoroughly cleaned, also on Saturday. So let me talk about the 4-period schedule. It's an 80-minute schedule, 80-minute period. So period 1 at the start of the school day, coming off the bus, 7:30 to 8:50, 80 minutes. We have about a 20-minute hall passing, clean the room, common areas. I'll go over logistics with you too. Every room after each use is thoroughly cleaned by our maintenance staff before students enter the next classroom. So you can see the period by period schedule. Period 2 is 9:10 to 10:30. We have a 45-minute lunch period. The lunch will be served. There'll be student desks in the high school cafeteria, socially distanced, and then the overflow will be in the Lilac lobby. We'll have that set up with student desks as well. Nice weather, we'll be able to go outside. After lunch, period 3 is 80 minutes, 11:20 to 12:40. Again, 20-minute passing time, roughly, and then we go into our last period, 12:59 to 2:19. So that gives, in our core subject areas, English, social studies, math, and science, an 80-minute contact time each week. So some of the logistics, and this was, some parents have asked, why didn't we have an every other day schedule, as some other schools have done, with 2 grade levels coming? It just wasn't possible. We do not have the instructional space to accommodate that. So under logistics, you can see what I mean. In English, to get a full class, we are having all of our English classes in the high school library. Our overflow room is 453 if needed, and 465. Social studies, we actually are having our bulk of the social studies instruction will occur in the middle school gym. We're setting that up with smartboard and all the technology support that we need to provide that instruction. Math, our largest room that we have for math is Miss Brennan's art room, 414, and that's where most of the math instruction will occur. You'll see some additional rooms there available if needed. Science will be in our science classrooms and science labs. Again, English, social studies, math, science, in person, 1 day a week. All of the classes are virtual throughout the week. This is a good time to answer one of the parent questions. They said, tell me what a in-person schedule looks like and a virtual schedule looks like. So let me take 9th grade. 9th grade in person comes on Monday. You'll have an English class, maybe period 1. You might have social studies, period 2, math, period 3, science, period 4. On Monday, all of our other teachers know not to do any Google Meets, any work with students on Monday with 9th graders because they're here in school. So our special area teachers, foreign language, PE, art, music, technology, all those know that the only time that they'll have access to 9th graders is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I've asked and directed all teachers who teach virtually to have minimally 2 Google Meets per week. For core teachers, English, social studies, math, science, in addition to the 80-minute period they'll have on Monday, I'm asking that they'll have at least 1 Google Meet in addition during the slotted time. So what I mean by slotted time is if we've got a period 1 through 9 schedule, if English is period 3 on that printed schedule, the English teacher knows that period 3, that time slot, is when they can do Google Meets. There will be asynchronous instruction as well. Teachers will be assigning projects, assignments, and so on that students can do individually. Virtual, if you're all virtual, you're Monday through Friday virtual. If it's English, social studies, and math and science, our teachers, many will record the presentation that they have for the face-to-face piece. That gets confusing. My best answer on that is consult with your English, social studies, math, or science teacher, and they will ensure that all the connections, commitments are made, whether you've chosen virtual or face-to-face. I've listed total students per grade because I've had another question from a parent was, how many have chosen in person versus virtual? So for grade 9, 10, 11, and 12, we have about 70 to 75 students at each grade level that have chosen to be in school for that day of instruction, face-to-face instruction. So we get about 16% or so of students who have chosen to go entirely virtual. Let me go over some teacher expectations that ripple to students. I've said that already. Core classes, they have one face-to-face 80-minute contact time, and they have a minimum expectation of at least one Google Meet following the period 1 through 9 schedule. Virtual classes, we're asking that they have at least 2 Google Meets during the following the period 1 through 9 schedule, and certainly avoiding any Google Meet on the day that the grade level students should meet face-to-face. So in special education, I've had some questions on that, how we're going to make sure that we accommodate special needs students. We have one of our special ed teachers assigned specifically to a grade level, working with grade level teachers to ensure that all the connections, commitments are made for those students. And you'll see, and I'm not going to go over this part, but you'll see special ed and regular ed role and how they will commit to work with each other. Logistics, a lot of logistics. This is very challenging. We have a code of conduct for students, and I think most know these already, but I will be presenting those with Mr. Froschauer on the first day to students. But all students and staff must wear a face mask, and it has to be properly used. You're covering your nose and mouth anytime that you're in transit, on the bus, in the hallways, any movement in the classroom. Masks can be removed when you're seated socially distanced 6 feet. We can't have physical contact, no shaking hands, no hugging. We all want to be alive at the end of this movie. Students and staff need to respect social distancing. Hand washing, hand sanitizers will be available in each classroom area or right in the hall just outside the area. And we're going to require students to hand wash, hand sanitize often, especially before and after lunch. There will be no use of lockers, and students, you're going to be required to carry all of your belongings. This last one, I don't think I'll have to do, but if I have a student or a parent that actually says, I won't wear a mask, then you really need to go to virtual instruction, because when you come into this building, masks are required. So a little bit more specific on classroom code of conduct, we're going to have spray and wipes and gloves available to each classroom teacher. Again, students when seated must be 6 feet apart, and then they can remove their mask. Anytime there's movement in the classroom to keep everyone safe, the mask has to go back on. So for example, a student requests to go to the bathroom. All students must put a mask on when the student moves about the classroom. So if they're going down the first aisle, the students in that first aisle will have to put their mask on. Interesting, even handing out papers, we had to figure that out. Supplies, a teacher will hand sanitize, puts on gloves, pass out any supplies, calculators, rulers, books, pens. We're suggesting that teachers have separate bins. I'm working with our instructional leaders on that to kind of coordinate with teachers. Do we have a clean bin where materials haven't been touched for 72 hours? We have a used bin if everything's returned to teachers that needs to sit for 72 hours. Let me go down to students entering school. they will be screened. Mr. Froschauer and our school nurse will be primarily coordinating that part of the effort. There will be 3 entrances: Lilac Lobby entrance for any student who drives to school. We're encouraging juniors and seniors with a license with parent permission to drive. It takes some stress off our transportation department. So that's, and so any student who drives and any parent who's dropping off, those students who come through the Lilac Lobby entrance. The middle school main entrance, the high school main entrance will primarily be where our buses drop students off. Students, when they exit the bus, will have a staggered exit screening to comply with the code of conduct. They'll be screened at the entrance. If a student has a temperature of 100 degrees or greater, we actually have 2 isolation waiting rooms. I've listed one here. It's right as you're coming in the high school entrance. It's right there. Students will be escorted, directed to that location, and then parents will be contacted, and we'll go from there. Students who drive or walk to school will enter the building through the Lilac Lobby or main school entrance, and after a screening, go directly to their assigned class. We have special area teachers and our SRO and administrators. This is a draft of a schedule that we'll be presenting. We'll have a number of people in the halls monitoring students, making sure that we stay socially distant, making sure that one student uses the bathroom at a time, comes out, hand sanitizes. The whole focus here is safety. Signage, you're going to know traffic flow in one direction in a good portion of the high school. As you're going up towards the library, that's a major instructional area. That will be one way up. Going down towards the science classrooms will be one way that way. Going downstairs, one way, and then back up the hall and out the main entrance. We'll have an X every 6 feet in the corridors to assist with hall movement. And we're very serious about this in terms of keeping students and obviously our staff safe. Hall movement. We're looking at, and I'm still working with our instructional leaders on this, we'll be looking at dismissing students from classrooms on a staggered basis. So what does that look like? We have 4 classes occurring: English in the library, social studies in the middle school gym, math in the art room 414, science in one of the science labs. So an example of how that's going to work is your English teacher with about 20 students will say, how many are going to social studies next? So those 6 students might be dismissed. How many are going to science lab? Those will be dismissed. How many are going to math? So it'll be staggered that way to, and the other 3 teachers will be doing that as well. And the goal is to keep students socially distanced and safe. And that's the reason that we'll need the SRO and our administrators and our special area teachers to help monitor that and keep people safe. Hygiene, cleaning, and disinfecting. Our intent, our directive is that rooms will be disinfected each period by buildings and grounds trained cleaners. Hand washing, use of hand sanitizer will be required for each class transition. We'll use bathrooms closest to the student bathrooms. And then these bathrooms obviously have to be cleaned on a regular basis as per Department of Health guidelines. I've had some questions about breakfast and lunch. We want to make sure that we provide that obviously for all students. If a student, many students this past year would be dropped off by parents or come into school as early as 7:05, 7:10 in the morning, breakfast will be available for them. So they can come right down to the high school cafeteria. Middle school cafeteria is not being used for our food program. That's actually instructional space for the middle school. So breakfast will be available first thing in the morning. Students right coming in the door from Lilac Lobby can go directly to the high school cafeteria, get their breakfast, sit at one of the student seats, and then go to first period right after that. Lunch. Again, it's the 2 spots for lunch at the high school cafeteria. You'll get your lunch, and then you'll either be sitting in the high school cafeteria or the Lilac Lobby. And again, we have those set up with student desks. The tables have all been removed. Bag lunches at the start. So how does that work? Face covering when you're getting your food. Students seated 6 feet apart. When you sit and have your lunch, you take off your face covering. And we're encouraging outside dining if weather permits. We have our lunch supervisors who will be coordinating all of this. The question is about grading, because grading last spring was quite different. We're going back to our traditional grading practices, and I would really encourage students to do the best job that you can. You can be sure that our teachers, our counselors, our administrators will be reaching out to any student that's not doing the work that they should do. We do not want to get students in a spot where they get way behind. Remote instruction. Actually, this is for all students, whether you're face-to-face or remote instruction. Every student's going to be assigned a school Chromebook. And the reason we want you to have the school Chromebook is some of the apps that we use, want to make sure that it's easily accessible to students for compatibility. So we will be issuing all the Chromebooks for the students who are coming into school for the 1 day of instruction weekly. We'll issue that Chromebook on your first day of student attendance. We'll get the Chromebooks on a different schedule to those who are being taught virtually. Logistics, number 11 is continued. Every 6 feet in the halls, that's the social distance guideline. Middle school gym floor, high school cafeteria, lilac lobby, all of that. So when does school start? We have 4 intensive days of professional development set up for staff. Labor Day is the 7th, the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. All of your teachers, myself included, will be in professional development, really working on technology to support online instruction, to make sure that we do a much better job than we perhaps did this past spring. Understanding all aspects of Google Meet, Google Classrooms, particular apps to different areas, Flipgrid, Khan Academy, etc. The 9th graders come in the first day is September 14th. So only 9th graders will be in the building, about 70. September 15th is grade 10. September 17th, skip Wednesday, is grade 11. And September 18th, first day for 12th graders, is September 18th. I will interject here. CTE, VOTEC starts on September 8th. And again, those students will get a schedule to that effect. Materials distributed that first day will be the Chromebooks. Orientation specifics, I'll be reviewing with Mr. Froschauer, COVID building and classroom expectations. We'll be reviewing with students the importance of doing your work so that the proper grading occurs. We'll also be talking about attendance, the importance of, if you're in face attendance for 1 day a week, you need to be there. You need to be in attendance for Google Meets, so we'll be monitoring attendance very closely. Number 13 is use of the 80-minute core contact time. We have a major meeting on August 26th with our instructional leaders in English, social studies, math, science, world language, special education, etc. And our intent will be, as a department, to make sure that we are all doing the same kind of thing with that 80-minute contact time in school. Number 14 is staff training. We will have COVID training for staff. Our school nurse, working with Mr. Froschauer, will make sure that all Department of Health regulations are followed. So I'm sorry, I know that this was probably a little bit laborious. I wanted to make sure that I've gone over the specifics of our high school plan. So now I'm going to close that out, and I'm back. So questions that, in addition to the few questions I've answered as I went along with my presentation, I'll read these questions to you. And if anybody else sends in a live question, we'll capture that and I'll answer that too. So here are some of the questions. In the event that there's a school shutdown and school is once again virtual, will there be continued scheduled teaching via Zoom or some other platform? Actually, the platform that we're using is Google Classroom and Google Meet. Those are the two basics, and then there'll be other apps that support that too. But we have chosen as a district to use Google Classroom as the key instructional platform that we're going to use in Google Meet, not Zoom. Well, the SUNY Adirondack College classes that were originally to be taught in person be taught virtually in synchronized live fashion. They will be virtual. The professor for each of those courses will provide specifics. Mrs. Cook is a teacher of Math 110, Math 150. I know, obviously I know Mrs. Cook well, so she will be providing some face-to-face with the Math 110 students. Regarding transportation, next question. We have opted out as our student will either be driving himself or we'll be providing transportation to him. Will the parking at the high school for students be completed at the start of the school year? Yes. The parking for students is going to be by the Lilac lobby. While the parking lot by the auditorium will be primarily reserved for our staff. So we'll have ample parking because, again, we have one grade level coming in. So we've got just juniors coming in on Thursdays, seniors coming in on Friday. So we will have ample parking for high school students. Who do you reach out to register for student parking? No need to. Is there a fee? It's $1,000 this year. Just humor. There's no cost to student parking. We actually, it is a benefit to us. The more we have parents dropping off or students driving, it reduces the incredible stress on our transportation department. If a student opted out of in-class learning, how would their education be different from students who are attending in school? Will there be cameras in classroom for the student who chooses remote learning to tune in virtually, or will there just be assignments online? The teacher of each of our courses is responsible for providing the full breadth of program, whether you're virtual or face-to-face for that one day. So that will look different a little bit from each teacher. Some will be recording, some will find it better to use an app, for example, Screencastify or Loom might be a more effective way to present to students who are all virtual. But you can be sure that no shortcuts will be taken with any of our students. My child's going into 10th grade. She was unable to set up her schedule for this year. We have opted for remote learning. Will the guidance counselor be reaching out prior to school to set these classes up? Please call the counselor, email the counselor right away. The counseling office is open. Our counselors are here sporadically through August, and we will follow up. That goes to the larger question is any parent or a student who has a question about scheduling, please call now. We are setting up 2 different schedules, an English, social studies, math, and science in-person schedule, and then we've got the 9-period traditional schedule. So, and I'll be sending that out actually to students and parents probably the very end of August or the first few days in September. We are working feverishly to figure out the English, social studies, math, science here face-to-face, and then we've got the period 1 through 9 schedule in place already, but to coordinate those 2 becomes challenging. An example of that, I had a few parents call. So my youngster is 11th grade, but he's also, or she's also taking some 12th grade courses. Many times what I've done is I've had the teacher, let's say it's chemistry. So that primarily most students take that as juniors. So the chemistry would be on Thursday, but there are some seniors who are taking chemistry. So that the teacher would also come in on Friday to teach those seniors. So we've tried to be as flexible as we can with the different schedules. There's unique issues, concerns that come up. We'll be personally in contact with the parent and the student to address those. This one, I just think I just answered it. Can you describe a typical remote 10th grade learning day schedule? Yeah, let me do that again. So you have a 9-period remote schedule. Period 1, you have English. So 4 days out of the 5, you can expect that the teacher will be doing at least 2 Google Meets, if not more. But you are responsible for getting online at 7:30, period 1, and being prepared for English class. Say that you have social studies period 2, and you need to be online period 2, virtual. You can expect at least 2 Google Meets a week, if not more. Art period 3, you need to be online. Some of the throughout this, some of the work will be asynchronous, which means that, all right, you've got 2 Google Meets. Let's say that your Google Meet was on Tuesday and Friday. The teacher set it up that way. Then the other 3 days you'll be working asynchronous, which means that you'll be working on projects, you'll be working on homework, you'll be working on different things independently. So that's how the period 1 through 9 schedule works. You need to follow that schedule to the T. Take lunch, 10:45 to 11:15, same time frame. If you're, and it'll be clear on your schedule, but if you have an A-B class, you'll need to follow that A-B schedule that I mentioned earlier in this presentation. The A-B days will not be running A-B, A-B, A-B as we normally do. It has to be A day is Monday, B day is Tuesday, A day is Thursday, B day is Friday. Again, the reason for being so prescriptive with the period 1 through 9 schedule is we want to make sure we learn from the spring. Is we had teachers stepping on each other to work with Google Meet, saying, we want you to do a Google Meet from 10 to 11. And then another teacher was asking to do a Google Meet at the same time. So I've said to teachers, you really need to stay in your own lane and stay with that. If you have the students period 3, that's the time that you can capture those students, only period 3. I did have a question from a music person saying, well, how about additional lessons and so on? I've talked with Mr. Fox and said, maybe the time frame where you could catch almost all students rather than pulling from other things might be that immediately after school, that 2:19 to 3:15 time frame. So that's another possibility. I think what you're going to find with this is once students have the schedule, the teachers that connected to you, they will figure out all these the little specifics and dynamics of making sure this works to the best of our ability and keeps everyone on track. Are there any other questions that have come in?
We've had, yes. How many days are VOTEC students going to school? And how many days for 11th graders? And if work is online, when do the students log in, Dale?
Okay, so the first question was, how many days is VOTEC going? VOTEC is on a day 1, day 2, is similar to our A day, B day schedule. And what we'll do is we will provide the exact day 1 schedule, A day schedule for those students. We'll be sending that out shortly. I'm working with Mr. Jared Davis, principal at VOTEC, and he has indicated that that schedule will be coming over to us in the next week. So you'll, VOTEC students, you'll have the exact schedule. You're also going to hear from our counselors. We've got about 40 students or so going to VOTEC, BOCES, and we need to know if you're driving. This gets complicated. So let me take this as an example. So you're a junior, and you have your in-class instruction on Thursday. You're following the 9-period day. So you have your English and your social studies period 1 and period 2 face-to-face on Thursday. 11:10 is the normal time that we transport students to BOCES. So a bus will be available to take you to and from BOCES. Now here's where it gets complicated. So now you also have that schedule. Let's say that you also have to go to BOCES on Tuesday. If you have your own transportation, great, because you don't have school that day. You're an 11th grader. You don't have school on Tuesdays in face. So you're going to go to BOCES at about 11:10, 11:15 on Tuesday. So the question we're going to be asking you, parents and students, is, are you driving? If you're not driving, we need to know that, because our transportation department is going to have to swing around and pick you up from your house at 10:30, 10:45, whatever works best for our transportation department and for you to get you transported to BOCES. So transportation on this every other day schedule is going to be a challenge and something that we will work out with individual students. So that was a long answer to the VOTEC question. The second question was,
How many days for the 11th graders, which I think you asked?
11th grade is 1 day face-to-face, which is Thursdays.
And then the remainder of the question was, if work is online, when do students log in daily?
All right, so that we've answered that. When do you log in daily? You'll want to log in at 7:30 in the morning. Hey, if you have a study hall, period 1, sleep in. But if you your first class is period 2, well, you'll know your schedule, so you'll need to log into those various classes at the prescribed time, so that and I think our teachers, by and large, will say, hey, here's the schedule for the week. Plan on a Google Meet on Thursday, plan on a Google Meet on Friday, whatever it is. So you'll know when it's live, synchronous learning, and you'll know when it's asynchronous and you're on your own.
And then the final question is, will there be sports practice after school? And if so, what days?
Okay, sports. At this point, September 21st is the date that we're no sports until that time. We're waiting for more guidance from the New York State Public High School Athletic Association and our region to determine what's going to happen with sports. At this time, all sports are on hold until September 21st. We'll know more hopefully before that time, but September 21st, we know that we're on hold until that time. And I think this concludes our live stream. Please, if you have questions, contact me at school, email me, and I'm here daily and would be happy to respond to any questions that you might have.
Oh, one more question just came in.
Another question.
What about fire drills?
Fire drills. Fire drills and lockdown drills are required, and they will occur. I can tell you that I want to really work closely with the fire marshal, our buildings and grounds supervisor, and our middle school principal. And we are required to have 8 fire drills. We will have those, but I want to make sure that we do it in a safe and concerted way. My goal is the first week of school is to figure out all the logistics, make sure that's working smoothly, and then we'll be going on from there. If there's a fire, if there's a real fire, we're going to get out of the building. And then we'll figure out, we'll stay socially distant, wait for the fire department, and go from there. These are great questions. And the detail is we were peeling this onion. It is so complicated. And the primary goal is safety. And the next goal, obviously, is instruction. And hopefully vaccine is down the road in the short term. I'm hearing somewhere mid-year. And hopefully we can get back to a normal and hopefully sooner versus later. Thank you very much. And please call me or email me with questions that you might have.